the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Brother? I'm gonna have a brother? I've always dreamed about having a brother.
You must be Tommy.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta hug.
The Drew Mariani Show on Relevant Radio.
You might recognize that voice. That was Chris Farley, Tommy Boy. That's where that audio comes from. It's good to be here with you today. Let's talk about brothers. Let's talk about sisters, maybe brother-in-laws or sister-in-laws or in-laws in general. I want to talk about the healing of relationships, in particular sibling relationships. You know, one of the most public sibling rivalries is between England's Prince William and Prince Harry. Ever since their mother, Princess Diana, was killed in that car crash back in '97, the two of them have had a difficult relationship. And it's one that's played out in the public eye. That makes it, I think, even more difficult. Harry's decision, of course, to marry Meghan Markle, an American actress, didn't help matters all that much. And Markle's being sued by her half-sister over claims of defamation. So just one example of the things that can happen between adults. There are other siblings that have been estranged, you know. I know another two guys whose father died. They had a mom in their life. The mother passed away. And these two guys, when they get together, all they do is argue with one another. You know, not close at all. So, you know, I thought about this. I thought, why? What's happening? And I did a quick search. Almost 1 out of 3 adults, around 28% of adults, report experiencing at least one period of estrangement with a sibling. All right, 75% of sibling pairs never really go through that at all. But you're talking still, there's division, and it hurts. So why does it happen? We're going to be speaking today with Dr. Matthew Breuninger. He's a former psychology professor at Franciscan University, Steubenville, where he taught for years. He's been a friend of this show, and he's now in private practice at Wellspring Counseling and Coaching. And if you want to check him out, maybe you need some counseling or help after you hear him, I think you'll appreciate him. WellspringCCC.com, WellspringCCC.com. Good to have you back. He's the author, by the way, of Finding Freedom in Christ, Healing Life's Hurts. That's another thing we can talk about. Good to talk with you. Thanks for taking time to be with us.
Sure. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is a fascinating issue to me. I've got 5 siblings. Yeah, I'm one of 5. And we're all close. Growing up, we probably argued and fought, but, you know, we still get together, see each other. There's a bond there. But like I said, I work with somebody who they haven't spoken to their sibling in 40 years. I just could not believe that. What do you see, and what do you make of this? Is this common amongst siblings? Is it more common amongst in-laws? I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah, so first, I thought your introduction to the segment, Drew, was actually spot on. I mean,
Thanks.
So I'm hesitant to give sort of like, here's the sole reason. I mean,
Right.
It's politics, it's religion, it's old sibling hurts and rivalries, it's the will when mom or dad dies, it's money, it's greed, I guess maybe if you had to boil all of it down, it's something like that deep bond of affection and love isn't adequately nurtured and isn't given the time and space that it needs, and sort of what feel like more important things take priority and precedence, these hurts and wounds. That's not to minimize them and say that people haven't hurt you or wounded you. Or
Right. You know what I find striking, though, Doctor? Sibling relationships are often the longest lasting, right? They're the longest lasting bonds. We grow up, our parents pass away, our grandparents pass away, but your siblings are there. I mean, you're the next tier after the parents go. Why is it that they're so easily strained?
I think there's probably 2 reasons. One thing that's really interesting about sibling relationships is I think because they're growing up and because even into adulthood, they're taken for granted, they're oftentimes not nurtured like friendships. So if I think about my best friend, that's a guy who I reach out to on a like multiple times a week. I think about it, I nurture that friendship. There's something about having grown up with somebody as a fixture in your life, as just a feature like that you almost can't imagine not being there, that you take for granted, right? We don't oftentimes, especially not the parents don't always do this. I try to do this with my kids, but I know a lot of parents don't foster friendship among their children. And one thing I try to convey to my kids is like, you guys are each other's friends. And even when we have big age differences, so we have kids 18 down to 3. Wow. And it's hard, right? But your 3-year-old brother, like I want you to try to nurture whatever kind of friendship or bond that you can with him. You don't just live in the same house. You're not just bound by blood. I think parents have to try to nurture friendship because it's really easy to take for granted that the sibling is yours and they're going to be in your life. And
so how does a parent do that?
Yeah. So a couple ways. One is I invite my kids to always repair any ruptures in their relationship. So when like there's fight, and there is fighting, right? There are kids fight and they argue but I say, like, guys, come on, we got to come back together. Like, we're not just going to walk away. We're not going to sweep it under the rug. We're not going to pretend like it didn't happen. Like, hey, tell your brother how you're feeling about that. Tell your brother that it hurt your feelings. So, hey, I wonder if you could look at your brother and tell him you're sorry. Let him know that, you're going to try not to do that again. Let him know that you didn't mean to do that. So I try to help them, number one, repair any ruptures when they are there. But number two is like, I invite them into things together with each other. So like, taking the boys out fishing together, going with my daughter and one of her brothers to get ice cream or see a movie, and while we're doing those things, I'm asking them questions, and I'm inviting them to ask each other questions, like to learn about each other. I think one of the things that siblings and parents don't oftentimes encourage this is siblings don't know a lot. They don't oftentimes show interest in the life of their brother or sister because they assume they kind of know it.
Yeah, right.
And so I try to like invite my kids into conversation with one another as I converse with them. So they get to like learn what it's like to ask about their brother or sister's heart. Like, what's happening? Who are their friends? What are their struggles right now? And that builds deep bonds of intimacy through vulnerability.
That's great. Great advice. Doctor, let's go right to the phones. We'll go to Ryan in Florence, Arizona. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Drew, how are you? Hey, doctor, just give you guys a quick rundown. 7 years ago, I went through a pretty ugly divorce, really high conflict, caused a lot of problems. And my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, we were always like together and all that. But I felt like over the years, they have really chosen to spend time with her. It feels like they've really just almost to some degree taken some sort of side. And all of them are not practicing Catholics. And then when I don't have my children, they'll hang out together as a group, and they really seem to like gather on the point that I'm like obsessed with my religion or I'm weird or whatever. But growing up, me and my brother are super close, and it's causing a lot of resentment. And I don't know how to solve this problem or really how to address it outside of prayer,
Yeah, man. Here's maybe two things that might be helpful. The first is, you sound like you have like insight and clarity into some of this. And so I think to be able to say to your brother, like so oftentimes what I think gets in the way of the kinds of relationships we want with our siblings is fear. It's like what it would be like to say to your brother, like, hey man, I wonder if we could go out for coffee. And if you don't address the tension, it ends up like cementing or calcifying. And I think if you say something like, hey, I feel like, and use I language, right? If you say you've done, you're taking sides, it'll create an argument. And you're not trying to argue. You're just trying to let him into like what's going on inside of you. And you say, look, I feel like maybe you prefer her, or you've taken sides. And again, I felt like we were so close growing up. I feel like I miss you, man. I miss our friendship. Like, I will tell you that my brother is not practicing the faith either. He and his wife aren't practicing. And my wife and I are. And I think sometimes maybe they think that we're too much, or we go too far, or we're too conservative, but there is this like deep desire and bond there where I want to have closeness with my brother to whatever extent we can. There's parts of our life we can't talk about. There's parts of our life that just, my life doesn't make sense to him. And that's okay. But I want us to be able to go as far as we can, given who each of us is. And so to be able to say to him, like, man, I miss you. And I know there's parts of my life that you might think are strange or weird, but like, I love you. And there's tons of things we could be doing. Like, you guys could catch a game. You could, right, catch a movie. You could go bowling. You could go golfing. All these things we could do that, like, I miss. And so I guess part of me thinks that to step past the fear and to take that insight that you have, that you're noticing, how you're feeling, what you're seeing, and just present it. And it's not accusatory, and you're not trying to condemn. You're just saying, like, I feel like after the divorce, like, I lost you a little bit. And then what you can do is you can make space for him to share. And maybe he has an experience that you're not, maybe he thinks like, yeah, man, I saw a side to you that really scared me during that divorce. Or, yeah, man, I've just felt really bad for her after that divorce. Or I felt really bad for the kids and I want to support. But you give him space to share what's happening in his mind and heart, and to receive that, to be open to it, even if it's hard or painful. But you also bring yourself to the table, and you bring, like, that you're hurting, that you miss him, that you feel like maybe he cares more about her than he cares about you. but then you open up a dialogue. If you can present yourself sort of humbly and honestly and open up a dialogue, that's the beginning of reestablishing the relationship. Hey, am I seeing that wrong, man? Like, maybe I'm seeing it wrong. Maybe he's like, no, man, you're kind of seeing it right. I do feel closer to her. I feel like we have more in common. I feel like the faith has driven a wedge between us. And he said, yeah, but I know we have a difference there, and maybe we'll never see eye to eye on that. But man, I sure do miss being able to just like go shooting at the range with you, or go hunting, or go fishing, right? We can do those things, and we can find common ground. We can find things to create new shared experiences over.
Yep.
Even if we don't share the faith. So, man, I wish you luck. I hope to be able to show up humbly and honestly.
Ryan, thank you. I'll pray. I'll say a prayer for that situation. Angie's in Ogden, Utah. Angie, thank you for calling. Good afternoon.
Hi, Drew. Thanks for taking my call. So this has hit home. My husband and his brother haven't been speaking for, I don't know, we're like going on 3 years now, because his brother became Jewish and is no longer practicing Catholicism. And my husband tried to evangelize and get him to see it was the wrong decision. And instead of speaking the truth in love, it became an argument. And so now a relationship where these people were a part of our lives for over 40 years, every single thing, their kids are my godson. I mean, just so many things. And I don't know how to help anybody say they're sorry, or I don't know I really don't know how to help other than pray.
Yeah. I mean, when you were talking, I thought like that for me is it. It's your husband goes and says, I'm sorry. And like, not sorry for the faith yet. We're not apologizing for being Catholic. We're not apologizing for believing that the church is the fullness of truth, but how we convey that to others. Sometimes we beat people over the head with it, and sometimes we're not as cunning as serpents and innocent as doves. Sometimes we're heavy-handed. Sometimes we're cruel. Sometimes we're fearful with it. And I guess here's a beautiful opportunity for your husband to sit with himself and grow in self-knowledge and through self-reflection, and say, like, did I handle that the way I wanted to? Maybe the desire was the right desire, but where did I get it wrong? This is where I love the 12 steps. People in the 12 steps who work a program of recovery, even if they're only 2% wrong, they have to own 100% of their 2%, and they have to go and make amends. And so maybe this is an opportunity for your husband to say, like, look, I'm sorry. I had that conversation the wrong way. It was the right conversation, but the wrong way. And that, you know what that requires? That requires great humility. And humility can be really hard, I think, especially for guys sometimes. Oh, yeah. And especially with siblings, if there's a competitive dimension too, it feels like you're but like to put the unity that God desires above my pride, and to get humble and to get small and to ask for forgiveness for my 2%. I got it wrong. And maybe we'll never be able to talk about the faith. I mean, your brother-in-law knows what you guys think, and you know what he thinks. And maybe that's an area that will remain tense, but to be able to admit my error and say, look, we have 40 years of deep, rich love. Yeah. And to think that love stopped because of a disagreement, even over worldview. Worldview is a big deal, but worldview doesn't have to be a deal breaker. And I think for the Catholic, we can transcend that with the graces of the sacraments and the virtues that we're cultivating. We can find ways to build bridges with people with different worldviews.
So, let me just give you a situation like that, or anyone others. You have this misunderstanding, you have this ruptured relationship. In her case, it's been 3 years. Time is gone now. It's kind of hard to go back. You're right. It does take humility. But what if that person wants nothing to do with you? They don't want to forgive you, or there's this disconnect. I mean, it's hard to try to reach out. It's only going to cause you a deeper wound, won't it? When you know you're going to be rejected and they don't want to forgive.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, two things. One is, I think it's worth risking the deeper wound sometimes, because like love, the bond of love, it makes it worth it. And maybe it will be painful, and maybe you'll be rejected, but like that emotional pain can be worth it, because the payoff or the reward of a reestablished relationship is so great. But I'll say this, I mean, I think when time like that has gone by, when such significant amounts of time have gone by, you can always refer to the past, like remind them of what was and remind yourself of what was. But one sort of gentle tactic is remind them of the good times. Yeah, we had a fight about worldview, about religion. But do you remember when Dad took us to the hunting cabin in Michigan? Do you remember that time that Mom tripped in the snow? And like, there's so much shared history and bond and love. And remember when so-and-so got baptized? And remember, you can reawaken in somebody's heart. You can reawaken love. You can reawaken a desire for relationship by focusing on like the beautiful past that's shared. And I think what happens is we focus so much on the rupture that like our defenses get thrown up again, or our fear of being hurt again gets thrown. Focus on the beauty. Like, you can write a letter. Your husband can write a letter. I mean, it sounds actually like you need to write a letter to your husband, inviting him to be willing to take the risk.
Yeah. I've got to leave it right there, unfortunately. If people need help in this area, what's the best way? Your book, will it help in finding freedom in Christ, healing life's hurts? What would you recommend?
Dude, I think my book is really about clearing away the wreckage and the emotional hurts within us that keep us stuck. So if the issue is something that's arising in you, pride, ego, fear, greed, selfishness, a lack of forgiveness, then yeah, my book would help.
I love it. I got to leave it there. I'm out of time. My apologies, everyone on hold. I'm back again tomorrow. Give you a look at life you won't find anywhere else. If you're new to the program, be sure and join me, okay? And then tell others. If you missed anything, you can download the podcast. Nick will have it up in about 30 minutes. But until our paths get cross, kind of my deepest prayers for you, okay? Say one for me. And we'll talk soon. Have a great day. Hey, like what you just heard? Then share it with your family and friends. And thanks for listening.